Hello. Yes, I am still alive. I'm doing a bit of an unboxing here. I'm not sure if I am allowed to talk about this product, but I'm going to do it anyway. So G-Wolves Jim reached out to me yesterday to tell me that he'd sent me a HTM Plus with an ultra low sensor position. And I've got my VUK here too, just to do a bit of a demonstration to see what the difference is. And the HTM Plus ultra low sensor position is another cool sort of innovation that G-Wolves are kind of experimenting with, I think, to tackle one of the issues that they have, well, not they have, but that people have with their mice on soft mouse pads. So what G-Wolves are trying to do with this mouse is create a mouse that you can have deeper skates on, and you can see it immediately. These are Ghost Glide BFDs on my VUK, and on the HTM Plus, you've got the almost 2mm skates here, which are immediately much deeper. And the reason why they want to do that is because a lot of the feedback people provide for mice like this, actually shape feels nice too. Might be my preference, the shape for the HTM over the VUK, although I do like the VUK, this just feels a little bit more palm filling. Some of the feedback you get with thin skates on soft pads is that the base of the mouse will scrape along the surface of those pads. It'd be interesting to see how this plays, and in fact I'm just going to grab a mouse pad. Give me 2 seconds just to give it a quick live test while we're here. So I've just found the thickest pad that I think I have, which is the Focus 3 Max, and it is impossible. If I press down as hard as I can on this, which obviously I'm not doing because I'd break the table, but if I push down much harder than I would ever do in game, I can maybe just feel a little bit of drag just on the edges maybe. Whereas if I do that on the VUK, it's almost immediate how I can feel the drag on the base. So it's really clever actually, because I would never push that hard on a mouse. So effectively, you know, the spongiest pad that I have with a mouse with some dots. Let me see if they've actually got some dots in the pack. It's one of the things I quite appreciate about G-Wolves is they don't just like rest on their laurels. They keep looking for new ways and new things to try, which keeps them sort of relevant and sort of keeps their mice going, I think, on the market. So you've got loads of different skates here. I'm going to take these off. Oh, I've been cutting with that. Take these off, place some other skates on, just the dots, and see how it feels. I'm sure it'll feel different without the full-size skates on. I'd probably put 6 on a mouse this big, although they've already got some part way up. Do 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom. See how many times I stab myself before we get there. And these dots seem to have foam on the bottom to make them deeper, and I expect that foam would also improve the experience in terms of making the base, if the base wasn't perfectly flat, which I can't say if it is or it isn't because I haven't used it on glass, it would make it feel flat because it's squishy in the place that is higher. Oh God, I'm struggling. I'm a bit rusty. I haven't filmed or thought about filming anything for months. It's been quite nice to take a break. But this mouse has just arrived and my kids have just gone to the park. So here we are filming away, and then we'll do the same press test and see how it works. I'm not sure I really explained the intent that G-Wolves had very well with this mouse, or this feature which they're testing, but I'm trying and précis that by saying they have lowered the sensor comparative to what they have on other mice, so it's lower in the shell with my understanding, and to offset that they've increased the height of the depth of the skates so that you can use soft pads, is the intention, without having your base drag on the surface like you would have with, say, the VUK. Can you hear that? That's the base dragging. This is it without the base dragging, and then with the base dragging. So here we have the higher sort of skate depth, and then we're going to try. So that's with no friction or no sort of pressure, and then as we go down, we do obviously still get it. I feel like it's like reduced maybe. And I would never apply that much pressure. So if I use it as if I was going to use it in game, that's as much pressure as I'd want to apply. And I've got no base drag. Of course, if I press down harder, I do have base drag, but I wouldn't use it like that. Whereas with the VUK, I've got the BFDs as well, which have got more surface area, which will counter this a bit. Potentially, this is, I would say, as hard as I'd want to. And you can hear it, so it's interesting. It's an interesting feature. I think the thing that I would do using the VUK, and if I pressed it down that hard and I felt the base drag, I would just ease off a bit. I'm not sure that that's really something that I deal with moment to moment with this mouse specifically, but then I do have the BFDs installed. Certainly with this mouse being a little bit taller, maybe just a little bit more palm contact than you would get on the VUK, which seems to be a little bit lower, a bit like an FK2, something like that, the FK shape from Zowie. This feels more like a hybrid between an FK and a U2 or something. Straighter sides. You might put a little bit more downward pressure on it. Feels really nice, actually. I quite like the idea of this mouse being sort of straighter on the sides. Just like a big hand boy option. I think it's pretty dope. Assuming that it works, of course, because I haven't turned it on. Seems like a good shape for me personally with my big hands. One of the observations I have of the VUK is it's really long. A lot of people have said it's a bit of a waste because you can't sort of click right on the ends because the mouse is too long. I don't really care about that. I know it's a feature and it's like a selling point of the VUK where the buttons come basically in line with the base of the shell or the base of the pad, or the surface of the pad. But I don't worry too much about those things. I just kind of, if I want a palm grip, then my fingers will sort of be right onto the fingers, right onto the ends. Whereas if I want a claw grip, I'm just going to put my fingers where it's comfortable, and that doesn't matter to me if it's at the end of the clicks or not. What I like about the VUK is that it's quite aggressive. So one of the things that I like to do with this shape specifically, is use an aggressive claw grip. So I'll sort of get my hand in this position, and I'll rest the back hump on this knuckle here, on this knuckle here, and I'll use that as my sort of my anchor, if you like, while using it, because it's not very tall. The shape is quite shallow, if you like, so it does feel quite FK-like in terms of like the Zowie FK shape, which is like a fingertip option. Is what they promote as a fingertip or an aggressive claw option, and that's my experience with the VUK. It feels a bit like that, but a little bit more aggressive in other ways. And then the HTM feels a lot bigger in the back, so I think that'd be a lot more comfortable for maybe a relaxed claw, maybe, where you can just sort of rest your palm a little bit more into the base of that hump, and obviously have your fingers just sort of wrapped into that side. I'm not sure how I would do with an aggressive claw on the HTM Plus, because there's not quite so much shape on the sides here, but maybe when I slap some grip tape on, it will feel a little bit better for me. Let me see with my fingers, if I was going to, I mean, that's not very aggressive, but yeah, so in terms of where it would go, that would be my sort of natural positioning for my fingers and my thumb in an aggressive claw on this mouse. That's about as aggressive as I'd go. And then a relaxed claw, I would just let my fingers go completely straight like this. I think that would be quite a nice way to play. I'm going to give this mouse a go in Arc Raiders and hope that it goes well. I'm pretty confident that this thing that G-Wolves are trying is a benefit, but as they themselves said to me in their message, they're not sure how useful it will be because no one makes 2mm deep mouse feet. These seem okay to me. I'm going to try them out on a soft 99, type 99, which is what I've got on my desk at the moment, like a soft control pad. Give that a go, see how I aim with it. Buttons all feel great. Really actually like this mouse. I'm not sure which one I would prefer in terms of shape. Maybe something I'll report back on in the comment section down the road. All right, decent, hopefully an interesting little conversation. Probably not though, and I'll catch you soon. All right, peace.